Yeah, performance is an outcome, right? What we need to focus on, you are putting in the particular profile that you are working on. So, first and foremost is know your stakeholders well, right? If you know whom you are going to add value to. When I say stakeholders, the stakeholders can be client, it can be your boss, it can be your peer group, it can be your subordinate, it can be your vendors or suppliers. The whole ecosystem of people that you are working with. I think once you know them well, automatically your performance is going to improve.
Hello and welcome to one-on-one sessions with thought leaders by SECO. Today we have with us Mr. Rahul Gupta. Talking briefly about SECO. SECO is a micro-learning based community where you can learn just about anything you want in under a minute. In short, it is a platform where knowledge meets seekers. Talking about our guest, Mr. Rahul Gupta. Rahul is an ICF accredited coach and a trusted partner for professionals across industries. He's a third generation entrepreneur with a vision to build a world class coaching and leadership development institution. As founder and head coach of Transform Head, he is responsible for driving the development of coaching methodology there. Thank you for joining us, sir. We are glad to have you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ishan, for the introduction.
Right. So, just to introduce yourself to our viewers, would you like to talk about your work as a corporate leadership in the field of corporate leadership?
Yeah, sure. Thanks asking that question, Ishan. I have close to 2 decades of experience, and I have been mainly involved into two industries. Earlier, it was management consulting, or broadly speaking, consulting, where I started as a technology consultant, then moved into management consulting, focused on strategy, operations, mergers, and acquisitions. I worked across India as a predominant geography to start with, and then I was based out of UK for a substantial period of time. I have also spent a lot of time in US, Singapore, Malaysia, etc., serving various clients. So after having spent almost 10 years with consulting, I moved into corporate strategy roles, where I was part of leadership team, drafting and executing the strategy for large business units, $1 billion plus in revenue, in which I was not only just doing corporate strategy work, but mergers and acquisitions as well. In my last stint, just before I moved into founding Transform Ahead, I was heading mergers and acquisition for a portfolio of businesses globally. That was my last corporate stint. Post that, I decided that I would like to found this company called Transform Ahead, which is mainly a professional coaching and leadership development institution, as I call it, where we deal with various professionals from various experience group, geographies, etc., and we help them to reach their potential. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm extremely passionate about that, and finding some very good, interesting experiences as I'm going along. It has been just 4 months that I started off in this path, and it's very, very interesting as of now.
Well, you
Thank you.
certainly got a lot of experience, and I'm sure the viewers will have a lot to learn from you today. Right.
Sure.
So just to start off, we'll be having a rapid fire round where you should try to answer the questions as quick as possible. Right. So are you
Okay,
ready?
I'll try. Sure.
Yeah. So the first question is, describe yourself in 3 words.
Empathy, leadership, and a coach.
All right. So the second question is, one secret in your professional life that you've always worked on.
Secret.
Yeah.
It's hard work. It's simply hard work. I don't think it's a secret, but that's what is important, I believe.
All right. So third question is, what is your tip on becoming a successful professional or a successful leader?
Network is the most important asset. I think all of us need to invest, which helps us push upward.
Right. If you were asked to speak on a national podium to address the youth, what would you speak to them on?
I will tell them how to become a leader, because every youth has the potential to become a leader, but they just need a little bit of support and guidance from experienced people and the wisdom to reach there. So it's all about leadership.
Right. All right. Final question is, what is the one job profile that you've learned the most from?
I have learned the most being a strategy professional, which directly put me in front of a lot of CXOs, and I've learned a lot from them. So, working in a strategy profile has been the most important learning experience for me.
Alright, so that was a great rapid fire round. We will
Sure.
now be entering our Q&A round, and just to make it interesting, we are going to stick by answering the questions in just about 60 to 90 seconds. So I hope you're ready.
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
sure.
So the first question is, how has your journey been from consulting roles in firms to becoming a successful entrepreneur?
Thanks for the question, Nishan. I started off working with the ex CEO of a big four company. That was my first project, which put me directly under the mentorship of a CEO. After that, it has been a string of such experiences where I worked with a number of CEOs, CFOs, CEOs, and that helped me elevate myself in terms of both my thinking process and the experience I gained in that very short span of 5 years working with a big four firm. I think that once the base is set right, the journey becomes much easier going forward because you got the brand, you got the experience, and you got the confidence, first of all, to perform well, right? So, having done the management consulting stint, it gave me so much of exposure. It put me in front of so many clients across multiple industries that inherently that confidence of growth, the confidence of moving ahead that came by default in me. So that helped. And once I moved into corporate side of things, I started playing leadership roles. All those gradually adds to your confidence of doing something more meaningful and more impactful over a period of time. So I think that's how the journey has been, and between consulting to corporate and now being part of my own company, I think the journey has been phenomenal for me. I hope and wish that most people get this kind of good experiences in their career so that they get aspired to become something which creates an impact in the larger community, and that's what I am aiming to make through Transform Ahead.
Right. So you had a great set of leaders from the very start, and that is what they gave you a sort of
Yes.
head start. And again, that's what you're doing right now as well. So that's pretty impressive. Right.
Thanks.
So the second question is, what should young working professionals keep in mind while paving their way up the career ladder?
Yeah. See, I think first and foremost is you need to be involved. And when I say involved, which means both physically and mentally, you are uh, present in the job that you are trying to do. Unfortunately, today there are too many distractions, right? Even I get distracted given the amount of great things happening in and around us, and with the mobile being becoming so powerful, it's very difficult to stay focused. So I think staying involved is the number one aspect. Number two, I'll say is get your hands dirty, right? Which means be hands on. You cannot learn leadership, you cannot learn any skill but by just watching or listening to an influencer who has done great stuff in their life. They have done what they have done, you have to do what you have to do, right? So staying involved, staying focused, being hands on is very, very important. Number two, I will say is ethics is the backbone of everything. So whatever you do, you need to be ethical in your approach in terms of contributing to the job, to people, to stakeholders, etc. I think if you can if you can involve these two aspects and just top it up with hard work, it would be a brilliant combination which will help you move ahead. I think this is what you need to keep in mind as you go forward.
Right. So, sir, the next question is, what are the key tips you brief the professionals on when you're working with them to optimize the performance?
Yeah, performance is an outcome, right? What we need to focus on, you are putting in the particular profile that you are working on. So, first and foremost is know your stakeholders well, right? If you know whom you are going to add value to. When I say stakeholders, the stakeholders can be client, it can be your boss, it can be your peer group, it can be your subordinate, it can be your vendors or suppliers. The whole ecosystem of people that you are working with. I think once you know them well, automatically your performance is going to improve. Second is, again, as I said, hard work is very important, which means putting sincere amount of time and focus time in work will actually help you move ahead. And third, uh, always think from your stakeholders perspective. Knowing stakeholders is point number one, but having an empathy towards them, that's another story altogether, right? We always feel that we are thinking from our perspective how to improve our performance, but if we make other people successful, if we feel like them, if we put ourselves in their shoes, automatically you will see that the value add is much higher and our performance is also peaking because of that attitude that we have towards our stakeholders.
Right. So, sir, what would be your advice to people who are looking to switch industries, or people who are looking to rework their career paths?
Yeah, this is a very interesting question because a lot of people, come to me with the same question, and I tell them, have you already have taken a deeper look into what you're doing right now? Let's first think about that, because switching is or quitting or moving on is perhaps the easiest decision one can make, right? But staying invested in where you are, generating value in that particular place is the toughest thing to do. So first of all, I'll say take a deeper look and understand where you are. uh, is it not the right place to be, right? The grass looks greener on the other side, but we need to analyze our side to start with. That's the point number one. Point number two is there is always a career stage when you can make a switch, right? If you get too old in the system, you get tagged with certain kind of competency, certain kind of industry, and people start looking at you in a certain way, right? So if you have to make a decision, make that decision early in your career, right? You need to figure out which industry you would like to focus on, which competency you would like to focus on, and keep investing in that rather than thinking of switching on that. But if you have to switch, do it early, then later is the second point. And third, I will say is switching is possible, but you need to have the right connects to also switch. For example, you are a person who has been working in telco industry for last 7 years now, okay, and suddenly you think that FMCG is better for you. But question is, do you know people in FMCG? Okay, do you know people in technology maybe, or in other industry where you wish to switch? You need to know the right people. So building that right connect in the right industry is also very important in the prospective industry. So if you can keep these three things in mind, I think it will help you navigating through your career path. And I will say it is less of switching and more of determining the right career trajectory for yourself. That's how I see this entire question.
So, sir, people today struggle a lot with their work-life balance. So, what would your tips be on how one can successfully manage?
Yeah, this is a question which I think last 18 months has become much more important,
Right.
right? Where there is absolutely no differentiation between what is work and what is life, right? I think the first and foremost, which everybody needs to learn, is the ability to say no. Okay, especially if you see, people in India, they find it very, very difficult to say no. It's always the answer is always yes. Otherwise, we don't know what's going to happen next morning to us, right? We live under that fear. So we need to overcome that fear, and we need to make sure that we are able to say no to things which actually doesn't make sense. Once you start doing that, start putting the boundaries across things, and then small hacks like preparing a to-do list of things that you will wish to do that day, and stay focused in that. Creating a little bit of boundary, a little bit of discipline, I think all this, once they come together, you are able to manage. But having said that, I think it is still a very, very difficult thing to do. It takes time, it takes a lot of discipline to do it. But you start by saying no to things which doesn't make sense. Don't accept everything. All shit coming your way should not be accepted.
How can one successfully build their personal brand?
See, personal brand is a factor of many things, Ishan. A personal brand, uh, number one, it starts with the value you are able to provide to your audience. That's the most important thing. If people think that you just take idea from here, there, and just put it across to them, people will realize that there is nothing original about you. So what is the value? What is your originality factor, right? That's number one. Number two, I will say, is what is your niche, right? There are all sorts of people writing all sorts of things, sharing all sorts of things. uh, but what is your niche? What do you stand for? If I have to associate you with one thing, what is that one thing, right? So you have to gradually, over a period of time, build that niche, right? And third thing I'll say is being consistent, being out there visible to people, that also gradually creates your personal brand. So it's all about the brand value, right? It's all about the brand niche that you create, and it's all about the brand visibility and brand recall that you have. All this when and it's if you see, personal brand is nothing but a type of brand. So whatever theory applies to a particular brand, that applies to personal brand as well. So I didn't say anything which is rocket science, but this is a common sense. And if you study brands, this is how brands are built over a period of time.
Right, that is an interesting way to think about it. So, what are some tips that you give to students or people who are aspiring to build confidence?
Yeah. See, a lot of people come from different kind of background. Okay. The problem with most of the people who are taking interviews, or who are actually analyzing the talent pool, they all have a very broad brush approach, right? Uh, I want a guy in my company who should be A, B, C, D, E. Okay. And I have fixed my mind on that. And hence, it if I don't find a few components in that person, I find it difficult to absorb. I think that's where people also lose confidence. Am I not fit for, a particular profile? And when people start facing rejection, the confidence level also keeps going down. What people have to realize is not every place is for them, right? Uh, they will be successful where the environment is right for them. Maybe company A may be a great company, but may not be the best for me. Okay. So there is nothing to feel that I didn't get selected in a particular company, so I lose my confidence. We should know what we stand for, what is our value proposition, right? And keep building that through learning new skills, certification, competency, etc. You have to keep building what you are, and then offer it to the right place who are looking for that kind of competency. I think when the match happens, the automatically you will see that people, they are much more thriving in such environment. So it's a factor of environment, but it's also a factor that you keep improving yourself in the area you wish to develop yourself. That's how you will start building confidence. Otherwise, you go and you are a marketing guy and you go apply for random roles just because you want a job, right? You will face trouble and your confidence will go down. So be very, very focused. Again, focus is the word I'll use. When you are building your profile, be focused, and that's how you will get confidence in your profile.
So, sir, what are some habits that one should focus on when they are looking to become successful in their careers?
Yeah, first and foremost, I will say networking is very, very important. Okay. Even before you think about anything else, think about how many people know you and for what reasons. So I always emphasize on building a solid network, because beyond a point of time in your career, you will realize that it's not who you are which is important. It's who you know becomes more important, right? So start doing that from your early years. And I'm sure, a lot of people are doing that now. That's number one. Number two, I will say, is work ethics. Work ethics would mean that if I am in a particular job doing a particular role, I need to be very, very focused on that particular role, because it's not just what I'm giving to the company where I'm working. It's also about what I'm learning in the part in that particular process, right? You need to assimilate all that learning. Data says 80% of learning is on the job. Okay, 20% is classroom and off the job learning, but 80% is on the job. If you are not focused, you are not learning, you are not moving ahead. I think these two aspects, if you keep in mind, and the other things will kind of keep falling in place, I guess. So networking and then staying focused on the job, that's very important from my perspective.
Alright, so sir, what would be some of your tips to professionals who are looking to improve their resumes? And should people rely on certain tools that are nowadays available in the market?
Yeah, resume see is the most important document that you carry. It's a one pager or a two pager, but it is kind of gives you that big opportunity, right? So resume has to be number one, taken seriously. When I say seriously, which means you need to put adequate effort to build that resume yourself, right? When I used to think about a job change, I will actually put almost a month time to take my resume from where it is to where it would be before application. right? It's not an overnight or 2 day process that quickly I put down certain thing and then start sending it out. You will make a lot of mistakes. You need to keep reviewing it again and again and again till you feel you are happy. That's number one. Number two, I will say is resume is a statement of fact. It is not a statement of aspiration. Most people on the top, they write, aspire to become a great employee in XYZ company, etc. Who cares about that? Nobody cares about what you aspire to be, right? People care about what you bring to the table. What have you done in the past? So make your CV as a statement of fact, not a statement of aspiration, right? That's the second point. Third point I will say is simple is the most difficult thing to achieve, right? Complex is easy. You can write a lot of complex jargons here and there, right? And make your CV such big CV. But if you can simplify it, because people don't spend more than 10 to 30 seconds on a particular CV when they're scanning it for the first time. So make it very, very simple. Fourth thing I will say is it's important that you capture the right kind of keywords in your CV. These days you have application tracking system, etc. So CV gets filtered out by a robo, right? So you need to make sure that what they're looking for and what you're offering, there is a match. Maybe they are looking for a financial analyst and you write banking analyst. So what will happen is there will be a mismatch, whereas you are actually doing financial analysis, right? So make sure those smaller tweaks here and there you are making. And finally, see, I don't think tools do a great job, but if you have an experienced person who can look at your CV and give you some right suggestions, perhaps that's a better way of looking at, getting a professional view on the CV rather than just giving it to tool which will give you cookie cutter approach, and I don't think it will stand out. These are the 4 5 points I would think are important for CV.
So, what are your tips on acing an executive interview?
Yeah, interview are it's just like, in 30 minutes time you are talking to somebody you want to get married for the next 5 years, right? So very difficult to first of all know both sides. So as a candidate, what you need to do is please study properly the job description document to understand what the company is looking for. That's the most important part. Second is please know the company well. And when I say the know the company well, it's just not going to the website and scanning the website, right, and making your notes. Go and talk to few people who are working in that company, right? Third, I will say is also try to understand who your reporting manager would be, right? This is much more important at senior level, although even at entry level, I think if you get an idea about who you are going to work day in day out, it's very important that you try to figure about that person whom you are going to work. And finally, I will say try to get to know the company culture also, because it's not just the hard fact which actually helps you become successful. Is the company culture aligned with how you would like to work, what is your thought process, etc., right? For example, if you are a person who is very very in independence oriented person, autonomy oriented person, and you get to a company which is very hierarchical in nature, you will not enjoy that, right? So you need to do your research and accordingly also prepare 1 or 2 questions which you can ask at the end of the interview if you are given an opportunity to do that. So if you know the job description document well, if you know the company facts and figures well, if you know the company culture, if you know the people you would be working with, right, and if you have a few questions that you can frame properly in a positive way, I think these are some of the important things that you can do before you go into an interview.
So, what is the art and science of networking, and could you just elaborate on it?
Yeah, see, there is a saying that I learned in my first job as a management consultant. One of my partner used to say, when you are not working, you should be networking. Okay, so networking is not a time pass or a hobby. Networking is something which is a very very important aspect of developing yourself as a professional. You need to take networking seriously. You need to reach out to the right people. You should have a plan of action in terms of how you would like to network and broaden your network. Do it online, do it offline. Try to spend good amount of time studying the profile of people you are reaching out to, right? There are a lot of methods of reaching out these days. Some are paid, some are free. See how important and urgent it is. Based on that, you invest your time and money in doing it, right? So there is a lot of science behind it. Go process by process, etc. But the art is how to come across as a person who is likable by the other side, right? Because see, I mean, I will go and watch a Salman Khan movie, only if I like Salman Khan. Otherwise, why will I go and watch that movie? It's very simple. So similarly, if you like somebody, you will definitely want to connect with that person. If you don't like that person, the way you write a message to that person, the way you try to introduce, even if you get on a call, if you are not giving the right vibes to that person, the person is not going to continue the relationship. So net, I will say the art of networking is all about understanding the other side and trying to pitch in with something which the person cannot ignore, as well as being likable to some extent. I think all this, when it comes together, it creates that chemistry of networking, right? You follow the science, you follow the art, and create the chemistry. That's what I'll say.
Right. So, sir, how would you say that one could stay engaged with their network and take assistance in finding the best opportunities?
Yeah. See, this here especially, there is a lot of science involved, which means uh, we don't forget to eat every day, right? We don't forget to sleep every day, but do we network every day? That's the question I ask everyone. Okay. And if your answer is no, then perhaps you don't know how to keep up with your network, because everybody wants you to give a call to them sometime, in and between, when there is no specific agenda. When you call a person when you need a job, when you call a person you need some help, that person, the first reaction would be, hey, this fellow is calling me after 6 months, and he's just calling to get his work done. How do you feel about it, right? You don't get a good feeling. But when you keep connecting with people in and between without agenda, just keep talking about, hey, what's happening in your life, this is what's happening on my side, does it sound interesting, etc., etc. Keep the relationship going, keep the vibes going, just like you do with your family, right? You call your parents, you call, if you're staying away, you call your parents in and between just to check on them, and you tell them what you're doing. Do it with your network should be treated as family, and that's where I think you can keep in touch. If you don't treat your network as a family, you won't keep in touch, and then the network will also fall apart.
Right. So it's not about just building a network; you need to maintain it as well. So
Absolutely.
that is all for the questions we had today, sir. Thank you so much for
Sure.
joining us. I personally got to learn a lot from you, and I'm sure our viewers will as well. So thank you for taking out the time for this session.
Thanks, Ishan. Thanks.